Well, hello YouTube, and welcome back to Retired for Life. We're back out on the trail again today, and we're going to go have a quick look at two camera locations. And both those locations have the GuardPro SP350 solar panels on the cameras. Now they are totally compatible with the cameras, but we have run into a bit of an issue. So this is an updated review on those SP350 solar panels. So let's get our gear on, get the rope out, go down this hill and have a look at these two cameras. All right, so the two cameras in question is the Critter Condo camera, and then the camera that I have that looks out over the swamp. So I brought both of the cameras with me back to the studio just to check them, to make sure there isn't an issue with them. And there doesn't seem to be. So I have got my A60 4K camera and the E9 Wi-Fi camera. So there's our panel there. Let's see if there's any charge in it. Now, from what I see, it is charging. You can see the red flashing light here. Yeah, but there's no sign of anything in it. So that panel is definitely not working properly. So we're gonna bring it down and let's go have a look at the other panel. So it has been cold. We've had temperatures down to -20 the last couple of nights, but it's warming back up now. This is in the shade right now, but it does get decent sun. And that is showing a steady light there. Yeah, it's showing fully charged. Oh boy. It's slippery here. All right, sorry I gave you a bit of a ride there. Let's get back to what we were doing. So that one does seem to be working, or at least it does seem to be working now. So it's come back to life. So what we're going to do is leave that one in place and put the E9 camera back in its position here. All right, folks, so we've got this solar panel down and we're looking at it. This is the one that was hooked up to the A60. Yeah, it's showing nothing. Its indicator lights are not showing anything. But there is a solid red light there, which should indicate that it's actually charged. So there's definitely an issue with this panel. As to whether it's related to the cold or not, I am not sure. The only thing that I am sure of at the moment is that it's not working. So we're going to coil this one up and take it back to the studio and have a little closer look at it. You would think I would find an easier place to put these two cameras. This is a bit much. All right, folks, so we have had the two questionable solar cells back here for a little over 24 hours now. Now, it was cold out there, so they've obviously had time to warm up to regular house temperature. And now that they're up to temperature, or at least out of the cold weather, they are both working fine. There is no issue with either one. Now, we did have a night that got down to minus 20 Celsius, which is pretty cold without a doubt. But still, that had me questioning how good of an idea are these solar panels. So I worked it out. Now I can buy a 40 pack of these Duracell alkaline batteries from Costco, including tax, works out to a price of about 75 cents a battery. Now the solar cell, including tax, cost me $134.55 at the time of the making of this video. So it takes 8 of these batteries to do a full battery change on my Guard Pro E9 camera. So that means for the price of that solar cell, I could change these batteries out, a full change out, 22 times. And I have, at the most, changed the batteries twice a year. So let's say you change them 3 times a year. That means you can change out the battery in this enough times to last you 7.3 years. I probably should have done this math before I spent the money on this, because now I'm questioning just how good of an idea these things are. So the advantage of these is that you can basically run your camera with no batteries in it indefinitely, if you have it set up in a spot where it does get a reasonable amount of sun, and if you don't get really cold weather like we get here. And the other issue that I have found, if I want to move this camera around, which, as you have probably noticed from my wildlife camera videos, I do move the cameras fairly often. So moving a camera with a solar cell on it is not all that easy. You've got to find a spot where it's going to get some sun, and you've got all the wiring and stuff that you've got to contend with. So for me, I would say the solar cell is just not worth it, and I doubt I would ever buy another one, because this camera, keeping it going for over 7 years, I don't know how much the technology is going to change between now and then. So are they a good idea? That's up to you to figure out. I'm just giving you what I have found. For me, probably not. So let me know what you think about solar cells and the cost of this kind of thing, and do you use them? And if you use them, do you have batteries in your camera to work as a backup for the solar cell? So when I initially had the issue with the solar cells, I did contact the Guard Pro support, and they got back to me the next day. They're always really good about getting back to you about things for the most part. So I was pleased about that. They told me what they wanted me to do and that type of thing, and a video they wanted me to shoot to show them what was going wrong with the solar cell. And that's when I found that both of them are working perfectly fine. So I contacted them back and said, look, it looks like I don't have an issue with the solar cells. They are both working fine, but it looks like they failed because of cold temperature. And I asked them if I was to leave the solar cell out there in cold temperatures for a number of days, could that damage the solar cell? And unfortunately on that, they haven't gotten back to me yet. So I've got to get this camera back out there, and I've got to decide whether or not I'm going to put the solar cell back on it. I think I've got the solar cells. I've got 2 of them, so I might as well use them. So I'm going to put probably going to put the solar cells back on it and give some real hard looking around as to where I'm going to put the camera. And we'll see if the solar cell actually lasts the winter. It's still fairly early. We've got a couple of months of cold weather to go. We're just into the new year now. So let's see what happens. So it does sound like I'm bashing the solar cells, and I kind of am. But with that being said, I am still really pleased with how well the Guard Pro trail cameras work. They do work great. You get really good quality video off of them. And I really like the Wi-Fi cameras. I can actually see what kind of state the camera is in, what the battery life is like. I can actually see through the lens to see where the camera is pointed, as long as I'm within about 45 feet of the camera. So remember, it's Wi-Fi. It's not like you can look at these from home or anything like that. These are not cell phone cameras. So you do have to be close to the camera in order to see what's going on. All right, folks, that's going to be it for today's video. So thanks very much for watching our updated review on the SP350 solar cell by Guard Pro. So let me know what you think. Have you used these before? I'd be curious to hear back from you. And if you've been finding these videos interesting, or at least a little bit entertaining, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it around. And I'd love to have you subscribe to the channel. That would really help. So remember to be safe out there, be good to each other, and we will see you out on the trails the next time. I actually